A lot of you are going to hate this movie. Before reviewing this movie, I saw the trailers for Mother and a couple of early reviews. As a public service, I think it's fair warning to give you just a little spoiler to potentially save you some time and money on watching Mother. Turn off this video now if you do not want any spoilers at all, and come back to this video afterwards if you want to watch the movie and hear my review afterwards. So here's the minor spoiler. This movie is an allegory, is that how do you say it? Allegory to the Bible. That's it. The whole movie is a metaphor to events in the Bible. This means it's not really a horror or thriller movie like you may have been led to believe from the trailers. Now, I come from a deeply religious background, so I understood a lot of the metaphors. I'm going to do another video and post a link to it for those who've seen the movie and want more details and explanations of the movie. The cinematography of Mother featured some great up-close shots of the events and the actors. Mother stars Jennifer Lawrence as the mother in this movie and Javier Bardem as a poet who has writer's block. Also featured is Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris as house guests. Now, as mentioned before, the movie is largely a metaphor centering around the Bible, and if you watch this movie literally without having known this ahead of time or even catching it during the movie, you would probably hate it, as many people whom I talked to after the movie did. Jennifer Lawrence's character, known only as Mother, is a homebody who caters to loving Javier Bardem's poet character, and she is fixing up their home. They are visited by a stranger played by Ed Harris, who mistakes their home for a bed and breakfast. Even though Jennifer Lawrence's character has reservations of allowing an uninvited stranger to stay at their place, the poet welcomes him into the house as a guest, as a reprieve from his writer's block. Eventually, more guests make their way into the home, including Michelle Pfeiffer, who is Ed Harris's wife in the movie. More and more uninvited guests enter the home through various related events, and Jennifer Lawrence's character is confused why this is happening. That is a literal plot interpretation and introduction to the movie. If I share more, there will be too many spoilers, so I'll save that in my in-depth review in another video for those who've already seen the film and want all the metaphors explained. The movie has so many religious, philosophical, and social themes that it was like the director, Darren Aronofsky, wanted to make a bold statement on these things, but because he was using material from a book that's been around for thousands of years and putting it into a movie that was 2 hours long, he was only able to paint with broad strokes and just vaguely touch upon some of the ideas in this movie. If you're Christian, you might be offended by this movie, as it is blasphemous in some of the biblical musings. However, if you can go into it with an open mind, knowing ahead of time a little bit of what this movie is about, you'll probably appreciate it. I certainly did. The one thing that is notable is that there's no music soundtrack in Mother, which leaves us to depend solely on the dialogue and cinematography. The acting by Lawrence and Bardem are top-notch, and this movie may earn them both nominations come Oscar time. Even if you hadn't known that this movie was a metaphor for the Bible, you may have a different interpretation of what it's about, because some of the material is just so vague and symbolic that it could be a totally different interpretation from one person to the next. The end of the movie gets really tense and has some vivid imagery. Besides religion, the movie explores themes of isolation, and it seems that the house is occupied by Lawrence and Bardem is in the wilderness without any nearby neighbors, which causes the Mother character to cling to the poet. Another theme Mother explores is fandom, with Javier Bardem's character constantly craving love from his fans. There's so much going on in this movie. The fact that the director made the entire movie as a metaphor to the Bible was impressive and original. Many of the symbolic biblical references were loosely depicted and not entirely accurate, but I don't think the director was going for accuracy. This is the greatest downfall of the movie, as the religious themes aren't entirely depicted in great detail. I give Mother a 75% rating. The camera work engages the audience, and the performances are gripping, but the tone of the movie does not stay consistent, and its portrayal of Christendom is told without accuracy, which I guess makes sense given that it's being told from the point of view of an atheist director. This is a thought-provoking movie, and the great thing about it is that you'll probably want to talk about it after you've seen it to discuss the themes and symbolism. Mother has mixed positive critical reviews, but below average user ratings and an F. CinemaScore rating, which means that the majority of audiences hated this movie. Movie-loving friends, I value your thoughts. Remember to subscribe, comment, share, and check out my other videos. If you saw Mother, what were some of your takeaways for you? Did you love it or hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Let's fill the minutes with real minutes. What did the audience think of this movie? Here's a few audience reactions on the opening weekend of Mother.
The movie was great. Going into it, knowing some of his previous work, I definitely expected to cringe a bit, but holy shit, it opened my eyes towards a whole new perspective towards what a mother might go through. I loved it. It was freaking great.
So we enjoyed the movie. We saw some posts on Facebook that didn't want to see the movie because of a scene that was in the movie, and then everybody said, well, I'm not going to see this, I'm not going to see it, I'm insulted by that. And we thought it wasn't in bad taste at all. It was in very good taste. I mean, when we got out of the movies, someone was experiencing mental illness, and they did a good job depicting that, you know, with all the scenes and everything that went on through the movie. So we enjoyed it. We thought it was good.
So I just finished The Mother, and what I thought of it was that it was a pretty intense movie overall. There's a lot of action going on, and there's a lot of violence and stuff. And in the end, it's really revealing, but what was really confusing to me was a lot of the action go unexplained, especially with how in one of the scenes the military gets involved and things just start blowing up. So that was the part that really got me confused. But overall, I thought it was pretty exciting, and it really keeps people on the edge. So hope you guys have a great time enjoying the movie.
Very confusing. I saw an interview with Jennifer where she talked about saying that the reference of mother was to her being Mother Nature or Earth. And I suppose I did see some of the comparisons, but it was still a little too confusing. It was way too deep.
And thinking something's gonna happen that's gonna explain all of this, and there's no explanation. I think from middle towards the end, it shows that it's a really bad movie. It started off kind of interesting, but when everything went to chaos and all these people came in, I think that basically it's a bad movie.
I just saw the movie Mother and I thought it was absolutely horrible. It made no sense. I kept waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened. It grossed me out. I highly don't recommend it. F.
Alright, so that movie was, first of all, very intense. Half the time, Jennifer Lawrence's character, I really felt bad for her because, like, you don't know what's going on the whole time, and then all of a sudden, just people start showing up, and then you're like, what's going on? Why is this happening? And it just keeps snowballing and snowballing, and then it slowly starts to get better towards the end, and it's like, oh, this things might turn out. No, and then it just goes all to hell, and no one knows what happened. Like, I was so lost in the last 30 minutes, but I loved it because it was just so intense and crazy, and I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. And I have to give the movie a good rating because of the ending. The last 30 minutes really sealed the movie for me because it was just so out there. And I've come to expect that from this writer and director. So it wasn't surprising that it turned out like that, but because you never know where he's going to go. But I really liked it.
Thanks for watching my review on Real Minutes. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to click like or subscribe.